6 on BBC One.
Sean and Amy, the hunt is on in EastEnders in half an hour here on BBC One after a test of nerve and nous for the celebs.
First in the spotlight tonight is the DJ Bob Harris, his subject, the legendary American DJ Alan Freed. Next, the actor John Sessions, his subject, the Sherlock Holmes short stories. Third, BBC newsreader Louise Minchin, her subject is Darcy Bustle. And the journalist and broadcaster Andrew Neil, whose subject is Adam Smith. Hello, I'm John Humphrys and welcome to Celebrity Mastermind. 4 more contenders will put themselves to the ultimate test of nerve and knowledge tonight. They have each donated their fee to charity, but there will be nothing charitable about the questions. 2 minutes on their specialist subject, 2 minutes on general knowledge. The winner takes home this handsome trophy, much more importantly, the kudos of being a mastermind winner. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Bob Harris.
Your chosen charity?
Is Cancer Research UK Sound and Vision.
Your chosen subject?
The life of Alan Freed.
In 2 minutes, starting now, Alan Freed was born in which American state after his parents had moved to the town of Vinba?
Ohio.
Pennsylvania. In the 1950s, Freed popularised and tried to copyright what phrase now given to a type of music?
Rock and roll.
Correct. What nickname did Freed give to himself and to his show on WJW radio?
Moondog.
Yes, Freed was indicted for inciting a riot during a concert he organised in which city in May 1958?
Boston.
Correct. Which Cleveland record store owner gave him a slot on WJW radio in 1951 to promote R&B records?
Leo Mintz.
Yes. To add sound effects to his radio shows, Freed used a telephone book and which musical instrument?
A bell.
Yes, cowbell. For which European radio station did he contribute a segment to its Jamboree show?
Radio Luxembourg.
Yes, on which Chuck Berry hit song does Freed have a songwriting credit allowing him to receive payment when it was played, although it's suspected he contributed nothing to the record?
Maybelline.
Yes, in 1950 Freed married his second wife Marjorie, known as Jackie, with whom he had 2 children. What name from Wagner's Ring Cycle did Freed give to their daughter?
Pass.
Which Brooklyn theatre did he rent in order to stage a series of rock and roll reviews?
The Brooklyn Arena.
The Paramount Theatre. What name did Freed give to the riotous concert he organised at the Cleveland Arena in March '52, which is sometimes said to be the first modern rock and roll concert?
Moondog Coronation Ball.
Yes, Freed appeared in a 1956 film as himself alongside Teddy Randazzo and Tuesday Weld, who was making her screen debut. What was its title?
Rock Around the Clock.
Rock, Rock, Rock. What was the name of the representative from Arkansas who chaired the subcommittee that looked into the radio industry payola scandal that effectively ended Freed's career?
Pass.
In September '54, Freed was hired by which New York radio station?
WINS.
Correct. In which city's desert hospital did Freed die in January '65?
Palm Springs.
Correct. Freed's television show on ABC TV was cancelled in 1957, allegedly because which of his guests was seen to dance with a white girl?
Frankie Lyman.
Correct. Following his departure, I'll finish from New York amidst the payola scandal, Freed appeared briefly as a DJ on WQAM in which southern city?
Miami.
Is correct. You had 2 passes. Orrin Harris was the name of that representative, and Sieglinder was the name of the daughter. 2 passes. Bob Harris, 12 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
My name is John Sessions.
Your chosen charity?
Mine is the RNLI.
And your chosen subject?
The short
Stories of Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes in 2 minutes starting now. In which case, concerning a missing racehorse, does Holmes draw attention to the curious incident of the dog in the night time?
Silver Blaze.
Yes, what's the name of Holmes' brother who's mentioned for the first time in The Adventure of the Greek Interpreter?
Mycroft.
Correct. In The Creeping Man, what creature does Professor Presbury begin to both mimic and resemble after injecting himself with Lowenstein's serum?
Black-faced Lingar.
Correct. In The Adventure of the Illustrious Client, how does Baron Adelbert Grunner ensure that his fiancée rejects any scurrilous rumours that she might hear about him?
Through post-hypnotic suggestion.
Yes. The Adventure of the Blanched Soldier and which other story from the casebook of Sherlock Holmes are the only ones narrated by Holmes rather than Watson?
Blanche Soldier and the Mazarin Stone.
The lion's mane. What part of his anatomy does the hydraulic engineer Victor Hatherley leave behind at the house where Colonel Lysander Stark is operating an illegal coin press?
His thumb.
Yes. What poison kills 2 members of the Tregennis family and sends 2 others mad in the so-called Cornish horror?
The Devil's Foot.
Yes. The man formerly known as James Armitage took part in a mutiny on board which convict ship bound for Australia in 1855?
The Gloria Scott.
Correct. At which Swiss Falls did Conan Doyle intend to kill off Holmes, though after a public outcry his hero was resurrected?
The Reichenbach Falls.
Yes. In The Man with the Twisted Lip, Neville Sinclair gives up journalism in favour of which profession that he finds far more lucrative?
Begging.
Yes. The coffin for the deceased nurse Rose Spender is made especially large so as to accommodate which other occupant?
Lady Frances Carfax.
Correct. In a case of identity, why does Mary Sutherland's stepfather want to prevent her from marrying?
Because it will reduce his income through giving a dowry.
Yes, he wants her money. Which story set just before the First World War details Holmes's efforts to capture a German spy called von Bork?
His Last Bow.
Correct. In which story does Holmes become engaged to be married to Agatha, though it's only with the intention of getting information on a case?
Charles Augustus Milverton.
Correct. According to The Adventure of the Dying Detective, which long-suffering landlady has to put up with Holmes's incredible untidiness, addiction to music at strange hours, and occasional revolver practice within doors?
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes. What nationality is Robert Ferguson's wife, whom he wrongly suspects of vampirism?
Peruvian.
She is indeed. No passes, John Sessions, 15 points. And our third contender, please. And your name is?
Louise Minchin.
Your chosen charity?
Missing People.
And your chosen subject?
The life and career of Darcy Bustle.
Darcy Bustle in 2 minutes starting now. Which school in London did Darcy Bustle attend from the age of 11? It was there that she settled on a future in ballet.
It was the Royal Ballet Primary School. The Royal Ballet.
Arts Educational School.
In Barbican, sorry.
Which role in his ballet The Prince of the Pagodas did the choreographer Sir Kenneth Macmillan create for the 19-year-old Bustle in 1989?
Princess Rose.
Yes, at which international competition for young dancers held every year in Switzerland did she win a prize in 1986?
Prix de Lausanne.
Correct. The Royal Ballet's lower school in Richmond Park accepted Bustle at the age of 13. By what name is it known?
White Lodge.
Correct. Which role was created for Bustle by Twyla Tharp in her first work for the Royal Ballet, Mr. Worldly Wise?
Truth on Toe.
Yeah, Mistress Truth on Toe. Which company, now renamed the Birmingham Royal Ballet, did she join at the end of her schooling in 87?
Sadler's Wells.
Yes,
Royal
when Anthony Dowell made her the youngest principal in the Royal Ballet after the opening night of The Prince of the Pagodas, what question did she famously ask in reply?
Are you sure?
Yes, which role did she perform in the first Royal Ballet performance of Glenn Tetley's La Ronde in June 93?
Pass.
In which comedy series did she guest as herself, performing a duet with her reflection played by Dawn French?
The Vicar of Dibley.
Yes, billed as a homage to divas down the ages, with which artist did she team up to perform the musical tribute show Viva la Diva in 2007?
Catherine Jenkins.
Correct. During the refurbishment of the Royal Opera House in 98, she guested as Nikia in La Bayadère, with which internationally renowned company based in St. Petersburg?
The Kirov.
Yes. Which dancer was her prince in her debut as the Sugar Plum Fairy in 1990?
Stuart Cassidy.
Correct. Which former member of the Bolshoi Ballet partnered Bustle in Macmillan's Winter Dreams in February 91?
Irek Mukavadov.
Correct. Bustle has said that one of her worst moments on stage was when she crashed to the floor and had to be led to the wings by a partner, Jonathan Cope. Which role in La Bayadère was she dancing at the time?
Was it Nikia?
No, Gamzati. Bustle's OBE was upgraded to what in the 2006 birthday honours list?
CBE.
CBE is correct. Just the one pass, that role in the first performance of La Ronde, the prostitute. One pass, Louise Minchin, 12 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Andrew Neil.
Your chosen charity?
Is the Macmillan Cancer Support.
And your chosen subject?
The Life of Adam Smith.
Adam Smith, in 2 minutes, starting now. Adam Smith is believed to have been born in which town in Fife, where he was baptised in June 1723?
Kirkcaldy.
Correct. At what age did Smith leave his local grammar school to go up to Glasgow University?
14.
Yes, in 1740, Smith left Glasgow University after winning a bursary to which Oxford college?
Balliol.
Yes, who, along with Thomas Cadell, published the first edition of The Wealth of Nations?
Pass.
In 1764, Smith left his academic post at Glasgow to become a tutor to which young nobleman?
The Duke of Buccleuch.
Yes, Smith's picture on the current English £20 note is based on which engraver's bust medallion of him?
Pass.
In The Wealth of Nations, Smith describes an agency by which, in a free market, self-interest promotes the good of the whole community. What did he call it?
The Invisible Hand.
Yes, which philosopher who went on to appoint Smith as his literary executive did Smith befriend during his time in Edinburgh in the late 1740s?
David Hume.
It was. In which French city were Smith and Buccleuch based for most of their time in Europe? Smith found it so dull that he wrote, "I'd begun to write a book to pass away the time."
Toulouse.
Yes. What traumatic event happened to him when he was 3 years old during a visit to his mother's family?
He was abducted by what they then called tinkers.
Yes. In The Wealth of Nations, Smith suggested that the Irish prostitutes in London were the most beautiful women in the British dominions because of their diet of what?
Potatoes.
Yes. In The Theory of Moral Sentiments, what name does Smith give to the inner person or man within the breast from whose viewpoint we learn to judge our own behaviour and that of others?
The Impartial Spectator.
Yes. Smith once famously remarked of his unprepossessing looks that he was beau in nothing but his what?
Pass.
At the beginning of The Wealth of Nations, Smith introduces the concept of the division of labour. What trifling manufacture does he use as his example?
The pin.
Yeah. Smith returned to Glasgow in 1751 when he was appointed Professor of Logic. Which chair did he take up the following year on the death of the previous incumbent, Thomas Craigie?
Moral Philosophy.
Correct. To which house in the Canongate district of Edinburgh did Smith move on his appointment as a Commissioner of Customs in 1778?
Panmure.
Yes, in 1748, which influential jurist and philosopher arranged for Smith to give a series of public lectures on rhetoric in Edinburgh?
Henry Home.
Henry Home is correct. You had 3 passes. He remarked that he was beau in nothing but his books. James Tassie was the chap who made the medallion, and William Strawn published the first edition with Thomas Cadell of Wealth of Nations. Andrew, 3 passes, 14 points. So that's the end of the first round, the specialist subjects. So let's have a look at the scores. In joint 4th place, 12 points apiece, Bob Harris and Louise Minchin. 2nd place, 14 points, Andrew Neil. In the lead, just with 15 points, John Sessions. General knowledge now, and if there is a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes get taken into account. So let's get on with it and ask Bob to join us again, if he would, please. And, Bob, you're, if I can put it like this, a graduate of the old grey whistle test.
Yes.
Which was quite a long time ago.
It's rather nice coming back to Television Centre tonight because, of course, this is where the programme used to come from. So.
It's said that you are different from many modern DJs because of your love of and interest in and knowledge of music first.
Well, that's certainly the motivation for me when I started. Yeah, it still is, actually. I mean, I just think of myself as being unbelievably lucky that I'm able to do for a living what I absolutely love to do. And in particular, you know, having the sessions that I have and the live music that I have on my programme, it's a privilege to sit across the studio with, I don't know, an Emmylou Harris or one of the younger artists that I'm supporting and have them play live for me. I mean, I just think, wow, this is, you know, it's an incredible situation to be in.
Well, you've got 12 points with your knowledge of Alan Freed. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. Here we go, 2 minutes. Which Asian capital city has given its name to a type of strong brown paper often used to make envelopes?
Parchment?
Manila. Indica and Japonica, which are often known as long grain and short grain, are subspecies of which cereal?
Corn?
Rice. Which island group, famous for its knitwear, lies at the mouth of Galway Bay?
Oh, gosh. Jersey.
Aaron. Who did Manchester United beat in the Champions League final in May 2008?
In May 2008, it was Chelsea.
Yes. Which popular 1970s television detective series was remade as a film in 2004 with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson in the title roles?
Pass.
What colloquial term is used for a person who gains illegal access to a computer, sometimes with malicious or criminal intent?
Hacker.
Yes. Which jazz club owner played tenor saxophone on the 1968 Beatles chart-topping single Lady Madonna?
Ronnie Scott.
Yes. Which cartoon Viking is henpecked by his fearsome wife Helga?
Pass.
Which Renaissance artist and engineer's last major project was to design a palace and a new town to go with it at Romorantin in central France?
Pass.
What name is given to an explosive mixture of potassium nitrate, powdered charcoal and sulfur?
Dynamite.
Gunpowder. Which television threesome used to climb aboard and promptly fall off their trandem, a bicycle made for three before remounting to pedal off to their task?
The Goodies.
Yes. Which political leader was assassinated while he was addressing a meeting of the Organization of Afro-American Unity in New York in February '65?
Martin Luther King.
Malcolm X. Who was nominated for an Oscar for his performance as an idealistic sports agent in the 1996 film Jerry Maguire?
Pass.
What was the name of Tony Blackburn's imaginary dog during his time as a DJ on Radio 1?
I really should know that, shouldn't I? Or maybe
Yep.
not. I'm going to pass on that.
An Accidental MP is the biography of which former BBC war correspondent?
I'm sorry.
An Accidental MP is the biography of which former BBC war correspondent?
Martin Lewis.
Close, Martin Bell. Yeah, but there we go. Your pass is the name of Tony Blackburn's dog was Arnold. Imagine it. Tom Cruise was nominated for the Oscar. Da Vinci was the Renaissance artist. Hagar, or Hagar the Horrible, was the cartoon character. Starsky and Hutch was that television series.
Okay.
5 passes, you were total, Bob, of 16 points. And now Louise Minchin, please. And you are obviously a huge fan of Darcy Bustle, hardly alone in that, I must say. So what makes her so great?
I think, having watched her for the last 12 years, there is something special. If you've been to see her at the Royal Opera House, there's just something really magic about her. And I don't know whether the magic comes, well, I think I do, it comes from within her, that she's got incredible determination and focus, but also she loves what she does. And you can see that as soon as she gets on stage.
Don't they suffer horribly, ballet dancers who perform at that level? I mean, don't horrible things happen to their feet?
Yes, she's got, I mean, she's had a couple of operations on her feet. She's had bone spurs on her right ankle. She's had two bouts of surgery. Yes, they do. They really do.
Right, you have 12 points.
I do.
On Darcy Bustle, as it were. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. Here we go, 2 minutes. Which city is the capital of the historic Spanish region of Catalonia?
Barcelona.
Yes, according to the popular saying, imitation is the sincerest form of...
Flattery.
Yes, what name is given to the historic journey undertaken by Chinese communists during the 1930s, which led to the emergence of Mao Zedong as the undisputed party leader?
It's the Great Walk, but I can't remember.
The Long March. Which post-impressionist painter shot himself in 1890 while he was suffering from depression?
Gaudi.
Van Gogh. The songs Wouldn't It Be Lovely and I Could Have Danced All Night are sung by the heroine of which Lerner and Loewe musical?
Pass.
What type of pizza is named after the first queen of Italy and features the colours of the Italian flag, red, white and green?
Pass.
Who defeated Andrew Murray in the final of the 2008 US Open to win the title for the 5th consecutive year?
Roger Federer.
Yes, which word for riding breeches comes from the name of a former state in northwest India?
Jodhpurs.
Yes.
Jodhpur.
Which great soldier, who later served as Prime Minister, was born in 1769, the son of the Irish peer, the 1st Earl of Mornington?
Pass.
Forrest Whitaker won the Oscar for Best Actor in 2007 for playing which dictator in the film The Last King of Scotland?
Oh, pass.
Roman and retrousse, which means turned up, are among the common types of which facial feature?
Nose.
Yes. Which former American president's autobiography entitled My Life was published in 2004?
Pass.
Where in the solar system are the Sea of Nectar and the Sea of Clouds?
Pass.
Which son of Venus was the god of love in Roman mythology?
Pass.
On New Year's Eve 1997, which Oscar-winning actress married her longtime partner, the film producer and director Taylor Hackford?
Nicole Kidman.
Helen Mirren. Which English dukedom can be held only by the Prince of Wales?
Cornwall.
Yes, which Irish writer won the '93 Booker Prize with his novel Paddy Clark? Ha ha ha.
Pass.
The tiger. Just started, so you can have it. Anyway, the tiger is native to which continent?
India.
Asia.
Asia.
Right, your pass is Roddy Doyle wrote Paddy Clark, ha ha ha. Cupid is the son of Venus, or was. The moon is where you get the Sea of Nectar, and so on. Bill Clinton wrote the autobiography. Idi Amin was the dictator in question, the Duke of Wellington, the soldier in question. A margarita is that type of pizza, and My Fair Lady is where Wouldn't It Be Lovely and all that came from. 8 passes, Louise Minchin, 18 points. And now, Andrew Neil, please. Andrew, I've been wanting to ask you this for a very, very long time, and you can understand why. How do you get away with being so rough and beastly to those politicians you interview?
Well, I've had some pretty good role models to follow on from. But I think we both suffer from the same problem, which makes the job unrewarding, which is it's so difficult to get an answer from them these days.
Does that matter, in a way, because the audience spots it?
They do spot it. I've now developed a technique where I ask them the question 3 times. And at the end of it, I say, well, I've asked it 3 times. The viewers will make up their mind if you've answered it or not. I don't think you have, but I don't matter. The viewers matter.
Right, you have 14 points with your knowledge of Adam Smith. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. Here we go. Which television comedy series set in the newsroom of Globelink News was originally to be called Dead Belgians Don't Count?
Drop the dead donkey?
Yes, Deep Fritz is a series of computer programs used to play which game?
Pass.
What is the usual Italian word for a square surrounded by buildings?
Piazza.
Yeah. Who in the verse by E.C. Bentley lived in the odium of having discovered sodium?
Pass.
Which Ghanaian became Secretary General of the United Nations on the 1st of January 1997?
Kofi Annan.
Correct. In 1610, Galileo published his discovery of the 4 largest moons of which planet?
Saturn.
Jupiter. What name is used for the type of screw invented in the 30s that has a cross in its head?
Phillips.
Yes. Which singer and songwriter had her biggest album chart success with Ladies of the Canyon in 1970 and Blue in 1971?
Pass.
At the Beijing Olympics, who became the first man to win both the 100 and 200 metres in world record times?
Pass.
Abernethy biscuits are supposedly named after a Scottish doctor who suggested flavouring plain biscuits with sugar and which seeds?
Pass.
In which 1979 film is Brian Cohen mistakenly hailed as the Messiah by a trio of not-so-wise men?
Pass.
What name did Captain Cook give to the bay south of Sydney where he first landed in Australia because of the variety of new plants the expedition's biologist found there?
Hobart.
Botany Bay. Which novelist and politician was Clive Anderson interviewing when he asked, is there no beginning to your talents?
Jeffrey Archer.
Yes. What name for a person who does not conform is taken from a Texas rancher who failed to brand his cattle?
Pass.
Who or what are Shahala, Adal and Mijbil, who feature in Gavin Maxwell's book Ring of Bright Water?
Oh, rabbits.
Otters. Which actor became the 9th incarnation of Doctor Who in 2005 but left after just 1 series?
The one before David Tennant. Pass.
Hercules' 12th labour was to capture which dog that guarded the gates of the underworld?
Cerebus.
Yes. Which class of animals occupies an evolutionary position between amphibians and warm-blooded vertebrates and are distinguished by their scaly skins?
Fish.
Reptiles, or reptilia if you prefer. Your passes. Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor Who actor. A maverick, named for a person who doesn't conform. Life of Brian was the film. Caraway seeds, Abernethy biscuits. Usain Bolt was the sprinter. Joni Mitchell sang Ladies of the Canyon and so on. Sir Humphrey Davy lived in the odium of having discovered sodium. And chess is the game that Deep Fritz plays. 8 passes, Andrew, 20 points. And finally, John Sessions, please. And it's hard to know where to begin with you. Actor, comedian, writer, SWAT.
Show off.
Show off. You're an improviser, amongst many, many, many other things. That's got to be the most frightening thing to do in show business. Maybe stand-up comedian, but same kind of thing.
I think one is more liberated and it's more enjoyable to improvise than sometimes I find when one is constrained by the necessity of knowing a lot of lines, that can lead to, in my instance, I have to say, more agitation. And many years ago, I had the great honor to be in a film with Anthony Hopkins. And he said to me once, he said, you should be able to say your lines 200 times perfectly. You can say your lines 200 times perfectly, then you can really act them. And it's true, because, I mean, he never even had to think. He was totally free, as free indeed as an improviser. And I've always remembered that.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Right, well, let's see if you dry up. I suspect not in the middle of your general knowledge round. Here we go. 2 minutes starting now. In ancient Roman cities, what name was given to a public square or marketplace used for judicial and other business?
The Forum.
Yes, which work by Milton includes the line, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven?
Paradise Lost.
Yes, which river is the drainage outlet for 4 of the Great Lakes and forms part of the boundary between New York State and the Canadian province of Ontario?
Pass.
What is the last letter of the Greek alphabet?
Epsilon.
Omega. Which actor's real name is Anthony Robert Macmillan? He was born in Rutherglen near Glasgow in 1950, took his stage name from a jazz saxophonist.
Robbie Coltrane.
Correct. What name is given to the lunar phase between a new moon and the first quarter?
I don't know. Pass.
What name is given to the lines that run across the full width of both ends of a tennis court?
Pass.
Which aromatic gum resin, which has been valued since ancient times in worship and for embalming, has the alternative name of olibanum?
Ambergris.
Frankincense. Which variety of pepper, sometimes measured on the Scoville scale, with Scotch bonnet very near the top?
Pass.
Which charity was housed at St Stephen's, Walbrook, in the City of London for many years after its establishment by the church's rector in 1953?
Pass.
In Puccini's La Bohème, the heroine sings that they call her Mimi. What does she then say her real name is?
Pass.
The trachea is the medical name for which part of the human body?
It's the throat.
Yes, the windpipe. The story is known as the 1001 Nights. Which sailor departs from Basra at the start of his adventure?
Harun al-Rashid. Sinbad.
What name is given to the dagger with a wavy edge blade that is native to Malaysia and Indonesia?
Kukri.
Chris. Which ancient Greek philosopher's work, The Republic, contains dialogues
Plato.
with an imaginary Socrates? Plato is correct. What name is given to an American second-year student?
Sophomore.
Yes. Which geographical feature on the island of Staffa was the subject of an overture by the composer Mendelssohn?
Fingal's Cave.
Correct. In September 2008, the largest particle accelerator ever built was switched on at CERN headquarters in Geneva. It's known as the LHC, which stands for Large What Collider?
H, did you say?
Yep. Take us. I'll tell you. Hadron. Hadron.
Of course we heard
Large Hadron Collider. You were nearly there.
Disastrous.
Right. Your passes. Mimi's real name was Lucia. The charity is the Samaritans. The peppers are chili peppers. Baseline's the name across the full width of the... You knew that. The crescent moon is between the new moon and the first quarter. You knew that as well. And that river is the Niagara. 7 passes. John Sessions, 22 points. So there it is. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 16 points, Bob Harris. 3rd place, 18 points, Louise Minchin. 2nd place, 20 points, Andrew Neil. 1st place, 22 points, John Sessions. Come and receive your honour.
Bless your heart.
What's scarier, doing what you did tonight or standing on stage and improvising?
It was quite scary and relaxing at the same time tonight. Very much.
Oh, we failed then.
No, you're very relaxing. You know, it wasn't the usual cut and thrust that one gets on Radio 4 in the morning.
Anyway, John, congratulations.
Anyway, thank you very much, John.
Thank you for watching Mastermind. Good night.
Thank you.
Phil Daniels and Rick Wakeman tomorrow night. Celebrity Mastermind continues here at 7. But coming up tonight on BBC One, Nasty Nick's on the turn in EastEnders next. Rick wants the truth in Holby City at 8. And at 9, Michael Palin's going back around the world in 80 days, 20 years on.